So hi everyone, I'm Cheyanne Sauter, the Executive Director of Share LA, and I'm here today with Lisa Baldwin, an artist who has, we've had her artwork since early March at Share LA for a show that we installed called Garden. And we took some time to display the show and announce the show just so we can get all of our ducks in a row and get to know all the technology that's available to really make sure this show is seen by as many people as it would be if we were to do it in person. So Lisa, I'm so happy to be here with you today because I feel like this platform allows us to get a little bit more personal and intimate about your work and about you as an artist. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So your work, before I show it, is really it spoke so true to the theme of garden and the theme of outdoors and the theme of protecting and valuing kind of our outdoor spaces. So I would love to just give me an overview of your work and what inspires you to paint the palette that you paint.
Right. Well, my work in a nutshell is basically brief poems about nature. And this particular series that I'm showing with Share LA, I have two works, are part of my California Wildflower series. And these are pretty large works of about 4 feet by 6 feet. And they're inspired by hikes done locally here within LA County. And in the late winter and into the spring is when we get the wildflowers here. And I mean, they can be really spectacular. A couple years, 2 years ago, we had a super bloom, which is when that can actually be seen from space, which is amazing.
Beautiful.
So it just explodes with the color of these delicate flowers. And I also like the idea of wildflowers as well because they're fleeting, they're delicate, and you have that sense of these little tiny flowers, but as a group, as a whole, in when you see a whole bunch of them together, it make a real statement. And they almost remind you of like looking up at the night sky when you've got, of course, not right. You have to get away from the city lights, but
not in Los Angeles.
If you get away from the city lights, you get that sense of expanse of the universe and seeing all those stars, and the wildflowers sort of mimic that look of all the fine, like too many to see at once, but yet as a group, they're very. You get a sense of being kind of like you're just one little part of so many.
Isn't that funny how nature may, we have taken away our night sky by introducing all of this light in our cities, but nature is still shining through and showing us some fantastical things. So you're not from Los Angeles. You're originally from Quebec, and a newbie. You're about 4.5 years old in the Los Angeles sphere. Tell me about what you see, and if nature appears in Los Angeles. You mentioned hiking and trying to get out, but do you see nature on a daily basis here in Los Angeles?
Yes, I do. When I moved here, I actually moved here sight unseen. And so all I knew of LA was kind of what I'd seen in films, because it's used in film all the time. And it's kind of deceptive. I thought, oh, it's just going to be a concrete jungle, and that's so not me. I'm more of a country mouse. And I was very surprised when they say Hollywood Hills. I was surprised to see it's literally very mountainous, hills and canyons, and very abrupt and very steep. And that really struck me. And I had no idea until I'd been here that that there's so much hiking in LA, the reason why, one of the reasons why we have some of the worst traffic in the world is because we've got the ocean, we've got mountains, and so it just makes it all more complicated. And it imposes itself on the city, and so you can find it everywhere. You can go hiking. You could hike a different thing in LA, within LA County, every day for a year easily. I mean,
especially with this traffic and the lightness of traffic right now, you can really get to a lot of great canyons right now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share this series, the large scale wildflowers. It's so stunning, and I will also share which pieces are at ArtShare right now. So these pieces, so we have this piece here, Wild Mustard, which is such a stunning piece. And mustard seed is considered to be an invasive species of Los Angeles's flowers, but it still provides such a beautiful canopy and just kind of wisps on all of our hills in Los Angeles. And I'm going to click through, but I will come back to that piece because this is the other piece that has made it to our show as well. So talk to me about the scale and the reason and want for you to paint these in such large scale.
Well, I really wanted, as I was mentioning earlier about the delicacy of wildflowers and how small they are, and I feel that presenting them on this scale gives them a lot more importance and presence, and it's kind of more in your face instead of just kind of forgettable, So I really wanted to elevate them, and so I felt that going big was a good way to do that. And as well, I mean, just in a practical way, a lot of people in LA have big homes and big walls, and so that's another good reason to go big.
Smart. This piece I love so much. It just has such a beautiful depth to it, and it has so many different flowers in this photo. There are probably like 7 different variations of the wildflowers that are growing throughout Los Angeles. One, was this a scene that you saw and took away and needed to replicate? And 2, talk to me a little bit about your use of oil paint and how it just kind of jumps off the page.
So this piece is called Fryman Canyon Wildflowers, and this piece is actually a composite of flowers that I found right there in hiking on the hike of Fryman Canyon, starting at Nancy Hoover Pool Overlook. You will see actually in my site, maybe you'll end up scrolling through it. There's a smaller piece, sort of where you see where you've got the red flowers. That's called California fuchsia, actually.
Okay.
That I did a painting on site. It's actually in the smaller wildflower collection. So I have the large scale, and then I've got the smaller scale.
Great.
Yeah, right there. You're clicking on it right there. So this piece I painted on location right there, and it's got the California fuchsia, the wild mustard in the foreground, and behind that the orange ones are called Sticky Monkey, and the purple is wild sage. So I painted that right on location, and then I really liked the pop of that piece. So when I decided to paint Fryman Canyon Wildflowers, I kind of used that as my starting off point, and then I added flowers from around that same location to the
Beautiful.
piece. So it is a composite, and then created with, using with the inspiration of other photographs I took along that hike at
Okay.
that same time of year.
Well, let me jump real quick before you go into the oil painting, because you mentioned something about painting on site. So the large scale wildflowers in that series, obviously you can't go hiking with a 5-foot canvas, but you can go in with these beautiful little pieces. So do you go hiking in with all of your supplies ready to set up easel?
Yes, I do. Yeah, that's exactly what I do. I go in and I lug my stuff in, and sometimes I'll use I usually have like a cord strapped to my easel, because I like to hang a rock or something from the center of it, because it makes it more stable, especially if there's wind. And so I can strap it to my back, and then I carry in my other supplies as well, like that, and just set up and paint. There are some, plein air painters who have like a special easel for that. I don't use that kind of special easel, because sometimes I will actually hike in with some fairly large pieces. So I have been known to paint pretty big on location as well. But that's more for faster style pieces. Like I've painted, like a 3 feet by 4 feet piece of waves over in Venice, which I painted right on location. But these wildflower pieces, because they're more detailed, they do take more time. So I don't I don't lug in the big piece.
That would be a lot of elements.
That's correct.
To deal
That's
with.
correct.
So
Yeah, if you scroll down just a little bit, I think the piece is on there. Let's see that I'm describing. Yeah, okay, you just went past it. Go down a little bit.
Okay.
And over.
This piece.
That one. Yeah,
cool.
that one is I painted right on location.
Wow.
And you can see Malibu in the background. It's called Catching the Wave Venice, and it's actually painted on cardboard. It's I created a cardboard panel. Cardboard is actually torsionally really, really strong if you build it up with several layers, and then it's got a wood backing on it. But I like that use of cardboard in this application, because Venice is kind of, it can be a little rough. And I thought, anyway,
definitely adds that texture, that the undulation or the waves in the cardboard really kind of add a lot of depth to it. So you use oil primarily, and tell me about that, or your choice of that. It definitely helps with some of that beautiful texture that's happening in the waves here.
Well, I like oil for many reasons. I've been using oil paint, since I was a kid. And I like it. I like that it's a natural base. It's just usually linseed oil. Sometimes they use some different oils, but usually it's just linseed oil and pigment. I find you can get really vibrant colors with oil. Like, for example, the way silk dyes in beautiful bright colors. I think oil is the same kind of thing. You can just get great colors with it. I like that a lot. I like the texture of it. And unfortunately, with photographs, you can't really tell, but you can sometimes in certain pictures. But there's actually a lot of texture. Like, for example, on the piece that you're showing right now, that's got the background is very flat. You can even see the wood grain of the wood panel that I painted on, but the actual where the wave is, the white is actually very deep. and I've got some larger pieces like that where the white is as deep as an inch.
Wow.
So I like it for that reason. I also like that it's steadfast. I mean, it's proven to last for hundreds of years. And I like that it's natural. It's not, acrylic is made with like acrylic resin polymer, and it's basically it's plastic, and which is okay. Some people love the stuff you can do with acrylic,
Mhm.
but for me, I just like that it's natural. So I like to work on natural surfaces like wood and wood panel. I sometimes I'll use, but more rarely I'll use cardboard and canvas.
Mhm.
So I like to kind of give a new twist to old materials.
Mhm. Well, it's definitely apparent, and I love that your choice of using natural materials it speaks to your work and some of your advocacy in helping the ecology around Los Angeles,
Mhm.
and making that kind of present in your conversation of the work you're producing. So, thank you for that. Thank you for the work that you're doing there. I do want to click over to the artsy page. So ArtShare and Launch LA, two great galleries in Los Angeles, have teamed together to bring the page to full life on Artsy. And your work is here, Lisa. We're so thrilled to have it a part of this compilation of artists who brought us their thoughts and their theme around garden. And there's just some really incredible work that we were able to hang in our show, and then as well share digitally with everyone. So before we go, Lisa, is there anything else you want to share from your perspective or about your work?
Um, well, I would just like, from regards to collectors, I am open to doing commission pieces. I've done several
Right.
since I've been here. I have a wide range, wide price range, so the work is accessible to just about anybody. I have very small pieces like 6 by 6 that are just like $150,
Oh, good.
and then of course we go up in price as we scale up. So it's very approachable
Mhm.
to pretty much everyone, um, and that uh, I'll be. I want to thank you at ArtShare
Oh, good.
LA for doing this. We originally, of course, were going to have a big opening and all of that, and it of course couldn't work out because of the COVID-19 situation. And I'm very thankful that you have all put in the effort to promote the show this way. And I know that it's been a real learning curve for everyone to have to move into the virtual sphere. And
Yeah.
um, I think it looks great, and I'm very thankful.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like the timing of this show, celebrating it now, makes so much sense because we are needing nature in our life. We are needing to step outside of our homes, and to make sure that we know that we're connected to a greater world and a greater presence. And also, all of the news stories about how nature is singing right now because we are not messing with it and causing disruption to it. So it's the timing. It just feels so good to share this show. So I thank you for your patience in allowing us to let the show evolve naturally and share it. And Lisa, from what I've read, you're going to be in a show in the Topanga Canyon Gallery later this fall. So everyone follow Lisa Baldwin, get to know her work, reach out to her, get on her mailing list. And apparently, if you go hiking anytime between December and early to late spring, you'll see Lisa on trails around Los Angeles with an easel. So stop and say hi to her. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you.